My name is Khusboo Balani. I am a PhD candidate with the Center for Policy Studies, IIT Bombay. And my work focuses on healthcare financing in India with a special focus on the Empowered Action Group states. My association with the nutrition group started way back in December 2020 when I had the pleasure to join the newly formed HMIS group as a research coordinator. HMIS stands for Health Management Information Systems, and the group was formed with the aim of basically ensuring better utilization of publicly available data on various health and nutrition indicators to drive evidence-based policy making. The group was led by Professor Satish Agnihotri, and one of the key aims of the group was to generate concrete evidence about the critical link between public health and nutrition, so that, we are able to work towards the holistic development of children in this country. And I remember Professor Agnihotri very famously saying that health is the opening pair in the match, like the cricket analogy in the match against malnutrition. As of date, the group has presented an elaborate body of work on various aspects of maternal and child malnutrition on various topics ranging from stillbirths, preterm births, immunization coverage, and sepsis, amongst others. The whole experience of coordinating an interdisciplinary team has been extremely rewarding and enriching, and has helped me in understanding the whole multifaceted nature of malnutrition. We were also fortunate enough to get like a very nuanced understanding of various programmatic challenges involved in tackling malnutrition, because the group had like a healthy mix of both practitioners and academicians involved in this whole exercise. Currently, I'm working as a research associate with the Center for Social and Economic Progress as part of the Human Development team, where I'm studying and working on various aspects pertaining to medical education in India. So yeah, thanks.
Hello everyone. My name is Jayant and I have recently completed my Masters in Technology and Development which is offered by Sitara. During my coursework, I get a chance to work on multiple domains, and among them, more closely, I get a chance to work on the area of health and nutrition under the Professor Satish Agnihotri and Professor Amit Arora. Moreover, I have done my research work in understanding the nutritional status of India using CNNS data under Professor Amit Arora, which laid my foundation and interest in health and nutrition domain. I got associated with the nutrition group during second year of my MTech, where we used to meet regularly and recent researches and insights related to health and nutrition are discussed. Not not only helped me expanding my horizon, but also played an important role in developing a good grasp over this domain and improving my analytical skills as well. So during my master thesis under Professor Amit Arora and Professor Satish Agnihotri, I looked at the anthropometric indicators, food consumption pattern and biomarkers, which includes vitamin deficiency at NSSO level. The NSSO region is collection of districts depending on similar climatic and demographic conditions. So the hotspots occurring within the state and across the states are easily identified. This was a bit unusual as most of the data is analyzed at macro level, that is state, and at micro level, that is district. Moreover, they have these analyzing the data at state and district level have gained much attention among academicians and policymakers. But looking at these indicators at NSSO level showed a very interesting pattern. The study showed that there is a pattern emerging within the state and cutting across the political boundaries of the state, which is more nuanced and highlighting the need to study the factors influencing these patterns. So during my journey in masters, I got an opportunity to I got an opportunity to go on TD609, which is the flagship program of Sitara, where we have to spend 2 months in the village. One thing which I specifically found in villages was the consumption pattern of the people and children living there. And I found that the majority of the kind of food they are eating was carbohydrate based. Basically, they were consuming lots of rice, and which was a major part of their diet. And non-veg consumption per person was around twice a week, but it was comparatively very less in quantity. So there is a need, and I personally felt it, that there is a need to increase protein consumption consciously and needs to be emphasized in a very systematic way. Moreover, I also looked at the Anganwadi, that what kind of food children are eating. One thing which I found is really good, that the food consumption pattern of the children was really taken care of. They were providing the meals 5 times, different meals per week, and they are regularly eating the meals. But again, the challenge was the meals was majorly based on carbohydrate based diet, and there was also a protein based component of it, but it was not sufficient enough to fulfill their protein daily requirement. And currently, I'm working as a GIC fellow in GIC Hub, where I'm looking at the different data to be analyzed at NSS origins, with the intention to set up a platform for academicians and policymakers, where these plethora of indicators can be analyzed at NSS origins. So this project will give you a new perspective to understand the data, rather than thinking in terms of state and district level. And finally, I would like to thank Professor Amit Arora and Professor Satish Agnihotri for their support and for providing the new opportunities. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, my name is Shekhar Samudre. I am currently working as a Sitara Nutrition Fellow at IIT Bombay, which is funded by UNICEF. I have completed my graduation in mechanical engineering from Pune University. Later, I joined to complete my MTech in technology and development at Sitara, IIT Bombay. So, during my second year of MTech, I got selected as a UNICEF Fellow. I chose a UNICEF fellowship because of my background, that I come from Nandurbar district, which has a high burden of malnutrition attributes like stunting, wasting, underweight, as well as anemia among all age groups, like children less than 5 years, adults and girls, as well as pregnant women. So I got opportunity to work on topic like anemia during my second year MTech thesis, and initially, it was decided that I will be developing a food-based product, which will be used as an intervention strategy at areas which has a high burden of anemia. But because of COVID, it didn't happen, and my topic tweaked to like evidence-based decision making, and important variable was like anemia among children, pregnant women, as well as adults and girls. So for that, I have worked on these three important data sets like NFHS4, NFHS5, as well as HMIs. So we have analyzed this data set with its anemia covariates like IFA supplementation, albendazole coverage, and other socio-demographic parameters. We got some interesting results from this analysis. The first interesting result, that we found the spatial dependence of anemia and its covariates across all 358 sub-district as well as all 36 district level. And we found that severe anemia among pregnant women is highly correlated with birth outcomes like stillbirth, preterm birth, as well as low birth weight newborns. I ended up with writing a research paper along with my colleague Ashik Khare under the guidance of Professor Amit Arora as well as Satish Agnihotri, sir. And the paper was recently accepted by Food International Research Journal, and they will publish it soon. So in this research paper, we gave a review which provides an overview of iron deficiency anemia in India, and that paper is also elaborates the food-based solutions. And we have incorporated a case study of Maharashtra state which highlights the need for implementing alternative food-based strategies which are apart from the government programs. During my fellowship program, from last 1.5 years, I got opportunity to work at all level of bureaucracy, like starting from central level, state, as well as of now I am working at a division level. Hopefully, I will get a chance to work at district level. At a center, I work on a Poshan tracker app. So along with a colleague from IIT Bombay, we gave some our suggestions as well as some important observation which help to improve the Poshan Tracker app. So in then later I got opportunity to work at a state level with Rajmata Jigao Mission, which is a policy think tank of Department of Women and Child Development, Government of Maharashtra. So there I work on the two important projects. One is the review of rural Anganwadi and second one is the human development program. In review of rural Anganwadi, I was responsible to collect the data of Konkan division, and with the help of street level bureaucrats, we ended up collecting 99.54% data of Konkan division for all rural Anganwadis. So the objective of this project is to enable the decision maker at different level to take review by themselves. So that was the aim of that project. And second project was the human development program. So I have analyzed 125 sub-districts using a health data, and that project is under process. From last 2 or 3 months, I'm working I'm working at a division level, at Nashik division, which comprises of 5 districts like Ahmednagar, Nandurbar, Dhule, Jalgaon and Nashik. And I'm working with Commissioner of Nashik division, Shri Radhakrishna Gamesar. And he is quite inclined to the problem of health as well as women and child related problems. So currently I'm helping Gamesar to improve the nutrition profile of all these 5 districts using health data of this Nashik division. So lastly I want to thank Professor Amit Arora as well as Professor Satish Agnihotri for encouraging me to do work in this field as well as supporting me. Thank you.
Hello all. Today we will look at the state of Haryana in North India and its journey from NFHS 4 to NFHS 5. Haryana has economically prospered. All of us know the story. But it has also reduced the levels of child malnutrition between these 2 rounds quite substantially. It has not performed very well, however, when it comes to child mortality. We will see that. We are looking at 3 components: the neonatal mortality, the infant mortality and the under 5 mortality. Nor have the anemia levels shown a decline. In fact, the anemia levels in the NFHS 4 round were fairly high. Yet, some of Haryana's districts actually can aspire to become malnutrition free or Poshan Maah. When we say this, we are looking at essentially wasting and underweight, because stunting, getting rid of stunting is usually a longer haul. So it is important, therefore, to map this journey district-wise. That will emphasize once again the need for a district-specific or region-specific planning. While doing this analysis, we have used this site nfhs4.indiagis.org and nfhs5.indiagis.org. Any of the viewers can use this site and see some of this analysis or do this analysis for themselves. See how has the story unfolded for underweight. You could see a very sharp improvement, and it's across the state. But in Haryana, Mewat remains the weak spot, and that comes out here as well. So you notice that there is a considerable decline. And what is interesting is that this data range of underweight children under 5 has shrunk quite considerably from 20.5% children being underweight, which was the lower bound in the NFHS 4 round. That has come down to 9.7. Now that's quite significant. The upper bound has come down rather slowly, from 40.8 to 37.3, but that is because of the high burden one district or so. And what we have again done, we have looked at the cutoffs of NFHS 4 and used them for NFHS 5. So it is not Haryana comparing itself with any other state or with all India level, but it is Haryana vis-a-vis Haryana itself between NFHS 4 and NFHS 5. It's important to emphasize this point. If we look at underweight, again we notice fairly strong improvement across the state. Once again, Mewat remains an exception. This is something which the state needs to look at more seriously. And again, we will notice that the data range has come down quite significantly. It's not very sharp, but in stunting, reduction of this data range is not an easy task. But you would notice that it has come down from 19.8 in the lower bound to 15.6, which is quite critical. The best foot forward actually comes in wasting. You would see a very sharp reduction in the data range. From 13.6 lower bound comes down to just 6% of the children wasted. Even the upper bound from 37.9, it comes down to 20.7, and here Mewat seems to have done fine. This slide is slightly unusual in the sense that we have compared Haryana NFHS 5 with NFHS 4 cutoffs, and even then you see considerable gains. We went a step further and used the cutoffs that were used for Kerala NFHS 5. And even then, Haryana fares well with Kerala cutoff. Now that is significant. We again look at severe wasting, and surprisingly, there are considerable gains across the state. Now, considerable gains both in wasting and severe wasting tell a story because sometimes the two diverge. The data range again reduces considerably. You can look at it, 4.5% children being severely wasted. That was the lower bound in NFHS 4. You now see it coming down to something like 1.6, which is quite credible. The upper bound moves from 18.4% children being severely wasted, which is rather large. State, 50% reduction, 9.5% at the upper bound. So this is something where one sees that Haryana has put up a good performance in all the three aspects of malnutrition: stunting, wasting, underweight, and severe wasting. We did another interesting exercise. We looked at few best performing districts of Haryana, and we have taken the 4 top one in terms of underweight, that is Jhajjar, Sonipat, Ambala and Mahendragarh. Of them, we took the 2019 projected under 5 population based on the census 2011 data, and we worked out approximately what would be the number of children who would be malnourished or undernourished, I would say. And the numbers are there for everyone to see. But what is interesting is that if a district is told that there are just about 3,000 children who are severely wasted, or in case of Mahendragarh, it is just 1,700 or so, because of the small size of the district, quite often the district feels, hey, this is within our reach. We can try to reduce it quite drastically. So we looked at Jhajjar and the burden of malnutrition in absolute terms, in terms of number of children. The same data, same analysis can be done for other districts. But there's something additional which we looked at. How does this district of Haryana compare with the WHO reference? This is a slightly technical matter, but it will suffice to tell that when we take a large number of children, or we take any variable which is fairly large, one typically gets a bell-shaped curve. And here you would notice that there is a green bell-shaped curve, which is the WHO reference population curve for nutritional status, is there for underweight, is there for wasting, and it is there for stunting. The Jhajjar curve, the Jhajjar distribution, one could say, which is in the red bell-shaped curve, is just towards the left of this green curve. And when we talk in terms of a malnutrition-free district, I think the first port of call is for this left-hand side red curve to move rightwards and at least match it on the on the negative side of the axis. Here you see these numbers 1, 2, 3. They represent standard deviation as a unit. One doesn't have to worry very much about it, except for noticing that in the WHO reference curve, anything below -3 is 0. So therefore we have actually put these arrow marks, which shows you the small area which is there below -3 standard deviations. And the first attempt any state or any district should make is to bring this number down to 0. And if you look at the Jhajjar figures, I think this is doable. It won't go to absolute 0, but it will come fairly close to 0. A similar analysis can be done for any other district. These standard curves can be drawn using using standard available public domain software, but we will not bother the viewer with those details. Suffices it to say that Haryana can look at the possibility of some of its districts actually becoming Poshan Maah in terms of wasting and underweight. Stunting, as I said, is a longer haul. But when we go to child mortality, this becomes a bit of an area of concern for Haryana. Now, if you look at the mortality figures, they are fairly high even at the NFHS 4 level. The decline has not been there. In fact, infant mortality levels have marginally gone up. And the concern is that even in urban Haryana, one doesn't see much improvement. Now, that is something which is for the state to worry about. The state seems to be in that regime or in that region where reducing under 5 mortality is the first step. Usually what happens is state brings down the under 5 mortality quite significantly, then the IMR goes down significantly, and then the neonatal mortality reduces. So Haryana seems to be still in that domain of reducing under 5 mortality. This is one area of concern. When we come to anemia, we have commented on this issue of anemia levels being in NFHS 4, the anemia levels showing a implausible picture. But in the case of Haryana, in NFHS 4 stage itself, the anemia levels were pretty high. But even then, if you look at the levels in NFHS 4 and NFHS 5, the range has slightly narrowed down in NFHS 5, but the figures of anemia don't inspire much confidence. We have the same story when it comes to women in the 15 to 19 year age group, high levels of anemia at the NFHS 4 stage itself. The range of percentage anemic women hasn't also come down. So Haryana needs to, while raising questions related to the NFHS 4 anemia figures, has to recognize that there is an issue related to anemia among the women. So child mortality and anemia need some detailed scrutiny and steps. So how has the story for Haryana unfolded overall? It has shown substantial gains in the nutritional status of its children. The child mortality and anemia present a worrisome picture. Worrisome picture is what I emphasize. But it has districts which are very close to the goalpost of being free from undernutrition, at least in terms of wasting and underweight. Particular case of Jhajjar we have illustrated. So one question is, mischievous question perhaps, can Haryana beat Kerala in achieving a Poshan Mukt district, at least in the realm of wasting and underweight. So do what Kerala did in the case of total literacy campaign. We leave this thought with the viewers and then we move to another state. Thank you very much.